From now on, this brain is under new management. Mine!
Looking for a little peace and quiet? Didn't think so.
The station that brought you trawler fishing can be fun. All you need to know about pins and hang gliding in a chest of drawers presents...
Oh, feeling sad? Then get your happy pill. Watch Jason King. Hail to the king, baby.
One by one, they will all fall.
Huh?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm unashamedly and unabashedly wearing my favorite t-shirt, which of course is Wolfenstein: The New Order. I do like the blonde rocking the rocket because it's symbolic in a naughty kind of way. But yesterday I watched Sisu. Sisu, who sells seashells on the seashore. Try saying that 5 times after you've had a few.
Sisu! We might have a problem.
And this film just knocks it out of the ballpark. It really does. In fact, because I had the privilege of watching it on my small screen yesterday on the 26th of May, which coincidentally is when The Little Mermaid comes out, I will make sure Cineworld gets my money for this film and not that Peter trash, which I know it's absolutely gonna be. Sisu, made in Finland, cost only 6 million euros. I mean, the movie is a magnificent thing to look at. It looks like it cost 30 times more than it actually should. And it's made by a guy called Jalmari Helander, who also headlined as a director Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale, which apparently is one of Kate Blanchett's favorite movies. And if it's good enough for good old Kate, you know, the only true Galadriel.
But for you, I will keep it strong and simple. Stab, twist, gut.
Then it's good enough for yours truly. And there was another film called Big Game with Sam Jackson as the US president when his plane, Air Force One, crashes in Finland. And again, made by the same director. So he's obviously got a pedigree of good action. I haven't seen any of those 2 aforementioned movies, and I'm going to get to doing that this weekend. So I may make a video giving my thoughts afterwards. But this film, holy shit, you know, you get a brief history lesson at the beginning. So it's 1944. It's come to the end of the Second World War, and Russia and Finland have agreed to the Moscow Armistice, where the Finnish soldiers have to go into Lapland and get rid of the nasty Nazis who are still there. And this brings us to the lead actor of the movie. Again, his name is Jorma Tamala. I'm so sorry that I called you Tamale. Don't beat me around the head now with your big bare fists. This guy, he doesn't have much to say on the screen. It's really a case of action speaks louder than words. He plays an ex-Finnish commander, so this guy has the capability of submerging himself underwater for a few minutes, even in a puddle of mud. And if you get that musical reference, you are awesome. So you know the trailer, it sets the scene. He's turned his back on the war. All he wants to do is to ride his beautiful, faithful horse, and I love that horse, by the way, and his bestie friend, that awesome dog. So he finds gold. He's shocked. He can start a new life. It's 565 miles to the nearest bank. Do you think he's going to have the most pleasant of journeys? No, because he comes across the first band of Nazis. Now, that first band of Nazis he comes across, they're led by a very terrifying, he's the main antagonist of this piece called Bruno. Great villain. I'll get back to him in a few moments as well. So, you know, they give each other the evil eye, him and Sisu. By the way, Sisu, if you don't know what it means white-knuckled determination. And that really does come to play a lot more later on. So, yeah, Sisu and Bruno make eyes at each other. Bruno carries on and says, look, we're not going to kill him because he's walking into death anyway. And of course, if you saw the Red Band trailer, which I reacted to, which has nearly gotten 1,000 views. So thank you all for watching my coughing and spluttering and sore-throated reaction to that trailer. It was all very genuine, and I'm glad I got through it. And I guess the pain of getting through it and getting nearly 1,000 views is pretty amazing. 3 million views! Good grief! So you know what happened after that point. Nazi gets a knife through the head. The other comrades don't know what's happening to them. I've got to say, the way they set these Nazis up, it's almost like Jalmari Helander is a big fan of the Wolfenstein games, because these guys are mean-looking motherfuckers. Now, the story components of this film is quite a compelling one. Yes, it's simple, but when you break it down to the bare basics, the German soldiers discover that Koshkai has bars of gold on his person. They kill him. They take the gold. World War II is coming to an end, because if they don't have anything to go back to, they're likely to face a firing squad or live in poverty for the rest of their lives. So that right there, that compelling component, as I like to say, the 2 C's, is where the stakes go up and down. And again, Koshkai, he looks like a formidable, invincible man, but he definitely has vulnerabilities. God, shock horror. Disney, Marvel, are you paying attention? Instead of giving us a forced female character, sometimes of diversity, who is just there because she's the key to everything, how about dialing it back a few notches and watching a character study? In the case of Koshkai, how he's a broken man, how he became to be the most elite Finnish commando they've ever had, who wiped out, by the way, many soldiers in his reign. You couldn't control him. He's a dog off its leash. It's wonderful. Great stuff. But no, Hollywood is a dying ember at this moment, folks. The only person keeping it alight is Tom Cruise. But after Tom Cruise has passed away, who else will take his mantle? Not AI, but then again, the writer's strike.
This is not about who's the strongest. This is about not giving up.
After Sisu carries on with his business, and by the way, I keep calling him Sisu. That is not his name. His nickname is actually Koshkai, which is what the Russians call him after he has wiped out 300 Russian soldiers. It's pretty insane. So he's got that urban mythological status about him. And even though he's used guns, the way he kills people in this film is usually with bare hands, a knife, or his favorite utensil, the pickaxe. Boy, does he love that pickaxe. You know, you have this phrase called Chekhov's gun. Like if you show a gun earlier on in the play or a film, it's got to have some purpose later on. Well, I tell you what, they're not so subtle with Chekhov's pickaxe in this, because when you see it, you know what he's going to do with it, and it's pretty awesome. Some of the kills are really funny. In fact, in some of the film's more macabre moments, even the Nazis have a bit of time to make the audience giggle, which is something I did not expect to see. And honestly, the way Koshkai dispenses the villainous Nazis in his film, you're not only cheering, but you're thinking to yourself, my God, back in the heyday of action films, the 80s and the 90s, we used to watch stuff like this from blockbusters or at the local cinema. They're just reinventing the wheel here with certain ways to kill off the nasty Nazis. It's brilliant. And of course, if you remember my trailer reaction, we have 6 lovely ladies who suddenly turn out of nowhere with machine guns. Well, we do know earlier on in the film they're being held captive by the nasty Nazis, and unspeakable things have been done to them. So you've already got that mindset that you're on their side, which I like. There's no intersectional feminist bullshit where you're turning the ladies into dudes. It is more or less like what is going to happen to them, what is going to be their fate in the end. And I will say the main antagonist, Bruce, this guy, you know what makes a really great villain? And it's something I don't see in Hollywood films and I haven't seen for the longest time. In Hollywood films, they set the villain up and he barks orders, and then at the end, it's just like, yeah, they were just weak. They're absolutely weak. Just like Timothy Olyphant in Die Hard 4 or Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's not Die Hard with a Vengeance, that's number 3. But you know what I'm talking about. Timothy Olyphant could have been a good adversary for John McClane, but the way those films are normally set up is that you don't really have a hand-to-hand combat except for Die Hard 2, which kind of got it right in that respect. But honestly, the final confrontation between Koshkai and Bruno is one of the best fights I've seen. It does remind me, actually, of Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando when he's up against that chainmail's baddie at the very end. But this one is kind of played for a lot more seriousness. And the thing with Koshkai, even though he beats men into submission, you know, he can be vulnerable. He has met his match before in this movie, and it just goes to prove that anybody that you see in the big screen that you think can't take this guy on, well, you're in for a nice treat, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that. So, Sisu, which is just an amazing film, no silly politics. In fact, the lead character, played by Jorma Tamila, is a hulking white dude. And yet I sat there and identified with this guy through and through. He didn't have to be a person of color. He didn't have to remind me of my complexion, because at the end of the day, folks, I just want to be entertained by thoroughly gore fests, explosive filled movie like Sisu absolutely delivers in spades. Is it my film of 2023? It could be. It might get there. It's just an amazing film. And by the way, I've got to give you this caveat. Although the trailer says from the makers of John Wick, this has nothing to do with John Wick. There's no Chad Stahelski, there's no 8711 Productions mentioned. It's because it's Lionsgate. They are the distributors of this movie, like they have been with John Wick and the other film this year, Plane, with Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter, which I thoroughly enjoyed as well. So that's the only connection. So any hints that this could be John Wick's grandfather, no, just chuck them to one side. Nothing to do with Mr. Wick at all. Some people are pointing at similarities between Koshkai and John Rambo and John Wick. I can see some similarities, especially when Mr. Koshkai here has to stitch his arm up with barbed wire at one stage. I mean, that was a hard scene to stomach, but you got to sit through the pain, man. Again, going back to Sisu, the title, undetermined, white-knuckled rage. And this film just delivered so much rage that if I have to give this film a rating out of 10, I would say 9.5, maybe even a 10, actually. It's an absolutely perfect movie. Beautiful cinematography. You really feel like you're back in 1944, and you get a little bit of a history lesson while you're at it. So, Finland, that's a country whose movies I need to watch a lot more of. Like I mentioned before, Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale, and Big Game with Sam Jackson. I'm going to watch those this weekend. Looking forward to that. And if they do make a sequel to this film, just make one more, and don't do a prequel, because a prequel wouldn't work for me as much. Seeing a middle-aged guy all bearded up like a badass Santa Claus, that's the person that I like to identify with, and it's just wonderful. Great to watch a film that is historically accurate and sticks to the source material, if you get my drift. No forced diversity. That's what I like to see. If you're going to bring in diversity at any point, then make sure there's a logical reason that we see it, i.e. the European character goes around the world for some reason and encounters other factions, if you like. So on that one, folks, if you enjoyed my quick synopsis, my breakdown of Sisu today, leave a like below, stroke your best friend, which is your dog, you naughty people, and if I were you, and if you were me, you better come back for the next video.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
In the ass end of space, even aliens watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. Duke Nukem approves this guy.